Okay, welcome back everybody to Coffee and Art on a Friday afternoon. So we've been working on a few projects and showing some new books today. We did something out of we worked out of the Colorist Special Effects by Helen Ellison. I showed the Chibi Girls. We're going to do a little project out of Adorable Animal Grayscale. And this is not going to be a completed page. I will show the page. I'll post the page when it's completed, but I'm not going to do the whole thing here today, and I'm not going to make this multiple parts because we have so many other multiple parts in other books. So people have been asking me when I'm going to finish the where is she in here? She's in here somewhere. Now, the Mysterious Library. The girl holding the globe. Where is she? She's in here somewhere. There. So, asking me when and it's a little flashed out right now, guys. I'll adjust the light when we go to color. So, anyway, we have to finish this one out of Mysterious Library. I have finished a couple more out of Moon Blossoms. I'm just going to quickly show y'all what we have done. We finished this one, and they're posted. You know, I've already posted pictures of them. We finished this one, and then I did finish this one, which I have not posted anywhere yet. So I still have to post this one. So that's how the Moon Blossoms. So we're working on finishing those three. We did yesterday, was it yesterday? Wednesday? What day is it? On Wednesday, we did this piece, and I did finish her and post her again. It's flashed out, guys, for right now, but I have to read it. The sun is just like beating in here right now, so I've got to darken it up again. But anyway, we finished this page. I did finish up out of Seasons. Hang on, guys, let's get this. Let me find her here. This page, I did finish these. And what I did is because, you know, when we were talking about Wednesday working on this, and you can't see, there's all kinds of silver and Wink Stella on there to make those shine. Because I did the different ornaments, those colors, I decided to do her crown in all those colors too. So this one's posted. Now I still have to finish, which there's no video for this. I just played with this page here. Where is it? I just started another page here. Where is she? Where's that page? This one. So I'm just playing with that one off to the side. But we got to work on that. So that's in the Tide Varv or Seasons, Hannah Carlson. We still have to finish this page out of Serene or Say Renee, however you want to pronounce it. So this one we finished, and it's posted so you can see it. It's on my Facebook album, Twitter, Instagram. And so we have to finish this. So I have a lot here to finish before we try to finish another page. The thing is about today, just a kind of a impromptu sort of day. Fridays are always, I never know if I can stream on Fridays, so it's kind of an impromptu Fridays. But I wanted to show these books, so my new ones that I got yesterday. So that's why I thought we would just start something anyway in this. So, out of Adorable Animals by Jane Maday, and I know she has other color books out there. We're going to zoom in here in just a second, guys, and adjust the lighting. I did start doing a little something here with some alcohol markers. So with the Hoo Hoo Hero, some Copics. And then I just went ahead and did these branches here a little while ago, off camera, I think, using my Zig Kuretake Real Brush watercolor markers, or watercolor brush pens, I should say. They're not markers, they're brush pens. Using those. So I said, well, let me go ahead and at least start a page just using those. And anyway, these pages are all bordered. So when I finish these pages, I will cut the borders off of them and mount them on black paper before I put them in sleeves. So anyway, this was not filmed other than maybe that branch. But I just wanted to start another page just as a practice. So don't be expecting this one to be finished today. I just want to kind of work on a little bit. Let me put something behind it so we're on something here. And yeah, so we're going to use the watercolor markers here for a start. That will probably not be all I use. I will probably go in with pencils like I always do. I never cannot use pencils. So let's go ahead and see if we can zoom in and get the flash out of the page, because the sun keeps coming in and out of the clouds, and it's either too light or too dark. So I'm thinking we'll try this right here. As long as it doesn't fade in and out, we'll stick with this. We'll try anyway. All right, let me pop my chat back out and we'll play with these. Talk a little about these materials. All right. So, this book is a grayscale to the extent that there's not even any line art to it. There's no black lines. So that is good in the sense that you don't have to worry about trying to either white out or cover up any kind of black line art, which, you know, there's places for all of it. But in this particular book, there is no dark outlines, okay, which makes it easy to make it look more like a painting, if you will, rather than a color book page. So we're going to use the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Kuretake Brush Watercolor brush pens. I don't want to call them markers because that's a real brush. Just like on your water brushes, you know, your water, like these here, where that's a brush. That's the same thing for these. And these will blend, okay? Whereas, like, I love to use my Crayola kids markers for, like, you know, small areas to color in and everything, but they don't blend. You could use your alcohol-based markers like I started using here. This is just a start. That's not all blendy or anything like that. I just got a couple colors of alcohol-based marker on this one. But I want to try to use the brush pens on this one. So if y'all have any questions, put them in caps. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is a recording from Ustream with a live chat. Thanks everybody for being here. Coffee and donuts. Sharon sent me these, Sharon L. When I got this in the mail, I said, oh, she sent me coffee, they're Post-it notes, coffee and a coaster. I said, oh, it's a coaster. And then when I opened it up, the pack, it was coffee and a donut. They're donuts. Coffee and donut Post-it notes. So here we go, people. Speaking of coffee, I got my coffee right here. Okay, so all the introductions and everything, I think, are done. Okay, so let's see what colors. I want to get a little scrap piece of paper here to do little samples. That's always a good idea, to have a little scratch piece of paper to see what colors, you know, you're going to use. So I want to start with him being very light, and let's see, this is the lightest green, and this one is pale green. So I'm going to want some pale green, probably. I kind of like I love olive greens, and the little pencil case here is this one that I got at Michael's. It comes with gel pens, but I took the gel pens out, like everybody else I think did that bought this. And I put my real brush pens in here. And if you notice, I put top, bottom, because the caps are thicker than the pen. so you can get more in. If you flip them, reverse them back and forth, you can fit more in. And then in the back here, I have my Jane Davenport mermaid markers and my Lisa, I call them my Lisa parallel pens. She's the one that got me these parallel pens. So that's what's in here. And yeah. So let's see what color greens I want to use. I know I want this light green. I'm thinking, do I want a kind of a bright green on him? He can be kind of bright green. Maybe a bright green with an olive green. Let's just see those colors. Those might be enough to start with. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. Let me just test this one out. Might be good for, well, I don't know. I like all three of those. I might need all three. So these are the color greens I have, and you can buy these individually on Blick, probably other places too. They're not cheap, but they're not as expensive as like a Copic marker or something like that. But they're the Kuretake Clean Color Real Brush, and Zig and Kuretake like teamed up to do these. They also have another kind of marker that's not real brush. So if you want the watercolor with the brush, it's not just a felt, it's a actual brush like your water brushes. You have to make sure that you get the real brush, and it says it on there. There's another set, so make sure you get the real brush. This one's pale green. I got mid green, olive green, and light green. So those are the colors that I picked so far. There's other, I mean, this set of 36, look, there's still brown greens, 3 other greens here. So there's a lot of greens in this 36 set that Eileen the Enabler Elf got me. All right, so let's see here. I need to tilt the camera up just a little here. There we go. So yeah, so if you have any questions, put them in caps. I don't, you know, maybe some pinks, or let's see. Let me see what my light pink looks like for a base coat on. That's a little dark. Maybe it won't be by the time that's too peach. So, we could probably, this paper is a little thicker than, you know, your thin paper, but it's still not watercolor paper. So if you add watercolor to this, you can probably expect it to do a little buckling. I think what I'm going to do to make those a little bit less bright, because see, that's how bright that pink is. It may not look that bright there, but, and again, flashing out again, I think. Such a challenge with the lighting. Okay, so what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to clean one of my little palettes out here. Because if you want to water down, these, it's best to do it on a palette and then get your water brush. Let me get a smaller one than that one I had. Yeah. Let's make sure it's clean. Got some green on it. It's best if you put it on a palette like this and then pick it up with your water brush to have it less pigmented. You know what I mean, Fern? So let's give this a go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put a coat on the water lilies here. So again, I just put some out here on the palette. It's real watercolor, guys. And I'm just going to pick some up here with the water brush so it'll be lighter. Can you see that? Let me see if I can show you the difference here. See the difference between that? Here it is solid, I mean straight out of the brush, and then here it is with picked up with water off the palette. See the difference? So just so you know, you can use these just like you can watercolor, because that's what they are. So I do want to, I might want to leave just a little bit of a white edge. It's very light. Ugh. I don't even know if you can see because it's, there's the, let me see. Let's adjust the lighting again. Like I said, guys, I might as well just sit in a dark room, close all the blinds, and turn on a light. There we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to pick it up off the palette. I'm not squeezing out any water at all. Don't squeeze out water on your thin paper here. It's so light, guys. You can see it? Okay. Because when I look at my screen, I can't even hardly see any pink at all. So it's hard to tell, guys. From the streamer's perspective, it looks different. So to keep it, I mean, I want it pale, don't get me wrong. But I don't know, you can barely see it. Yeah, but you know, I don't want to sit here for 6-8 hours a day in the dark. I stream for 6 hours. I don't want to sit in the dark for 6 hours. That's just me. You know, I guess, you know, maybe I should, but I don't. So sorry. We'll just keep fussing with the light. Get this first initial coat on. I'm leaving a little bit of light edge as much as I can, right on the edge. And the thing is, this paper too, guys, is very pale. Let me get you a regular color book page just to show you the difference. So here's a, I'm just going to show an edge. Here's a color book page. See how dark those lines are? This is what this grayscale book looks like. It's very pale in and of itself. So it does make it even look more pale, right? Because there's no black line. So just get a nice, I'm just taking my time and getting a nice coat. We'll see how far we get with the initial, you know, like I said, I just kind of want to show a complete kind of, not finished, but a complete page from, you know, with nothing on it. I should say a blank slate. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. A blank slate. And all I'm doing over here is just putting out more and then picking it up with the water brush to keep it pale. Okay, I'm out of water. Hang on, gotta get water in my brush. Alrighty, back at it, back at it. I don't know if you can see right here. So it's very fun to use these brush markers. And because they are real watercolor, you can just put them on a palette and work with them off the palette. You don't have to work with them straight out, and they'll blend too. So if you have a few colors, you can blend your own colors on a tray. Thanks, Bright. All right, so there we go. And thanks everybody for popping in. Got a lot of people here for a Friday impromptu because I never know if I can stream on a Friday really till the Friday morning. So Fridays I kind of call my impromptu. I stream every Monday and Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And I set those, to stream every Monday and Wednesday. But Fridays are, kind of hit or miss. Okay, Annie's messaging me. Hang on. My daughter in LA. One moment, please. Okay, she sent me a video. I'll have to watch it after a while. Okay, so there we go. Let me tilt it a little. And it does look extra pale because of the kind of paper it's on. All right, we got another one down here. And put out a little bit more here. Coloring that in was quick, yeah. And the grayscale shows through. Now, granted, I will be putting more shading on it. But this is the initial, an initial color. And again, you could use watercolor and a brush pen, water brush, I mean. But you got to keep it, don't oversaturate. And if you layer up watercolor, you got to dry in between your layers on these color book pages because they're thin. They're thin. And these come with borders on them, but what I'm going to do as I color them out of this book, and they're perforated so they tear right out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these borders off, the white border, and mount them on black. So like, this one's wet, so I don't want to do it on here. Like this one here, let me just quickly do it so you can see how the difference, it makes it much more dramatic to me rather than a white border. Some people like white borders, so if you like the white border, leave the white border. But these pages, as I color them, they're going to be put on black cardstock and put in my binder, so it'll look like this. It'll have a black border. See? I just like the way the black border looks better than the white. So, see, like this one has the white border. I just like the way the black looks. So I'm going to cut off all those and put it on. And I mount all my color book pages on black cardstock. So it just, I don't know, I just like the way it looks. Alright, so back to this one. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's look at my greens here. And again, you could just use plain old watercolor. Don't have to use these, they're just fun. Alright, so let's start with the pale green. And here's my little sample here. That's that pale green right there. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit right on him. It's so pale, I can probably work it. Again, guys, I'm not sure how good of an idea this is because you can barely see anything. I don't know. It's so light. We'll do our best. So his little tummy is very light green. A little bit over here. Let's see what the next. Do I want I think I want the olivey green, the lightest olive green. So let's just put some out here and do a little test. And let's just do his whole body. This will be the lightest color. Or other than his stomach there, but I mean on his body. So if we just put a coat of this nice kind of olivey green, and it's so translucent because it's watercolor, you still see the grayscale. But granted, it's very, very light. And we'll put another shade of green in other areas of him, but this will just be the base coat. See how light it is? And I think I want him to have a yellow eye rather than a green eye. I just keep putting some more down here on the palette. Okay, thanks, guys. I know, it's so hard for us to tell, you know, especially with the sunshine. Alright, so I'm going to put a light. Because we still want the grayscale to show through, at least at this stage. You know, you can go in there and put all the color pencil you want. But I want to just do like a little demo using the Zig Kuritakis. Like that. So you see how you can still see the splotchiness of his skin in there? Hey Linda, thanks Vicky. See, there's the color right there. There's what he looks like right there, guys. It ain't easy being green, yeah. All right, bright sun, let's fix that again. It's a little better till the sun goes behind the cloud. Okay. All right, now I want the lily pad to be green too, but I don't want it to be an olive green, so that's why I got this other green out. Let's see. Let's do a little test. We're going to put more layers on them, but this is just the initial bit, right? With brush markers. So y'all can see over here, I'm just putting more out. Let's get right along the edge there. So I don't mind if I go like off the edge because I'm going to cut it off, right? Got a little too much water in there. Let me make another little splotch here. Might need an even darker green. I might just need to go in here with the brush because I think I do want it that saturated of a color. So I want him to pop off the lily pad. So we'll just get that nice and saturated. Kind of blend it out a little. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I really enjoyed doing that last segment we did, drawing the eyeball. That was fun. And remember, it's watercolor, so you can go back and forth between this, the palette, your water brush. Let's get a little darker right under him here. And then kind of blend it out here. Okay, but you got to be careful. I can already tell it's saturated. I don't want it to pill. So I'm going to stop on the water for a minute and let it either hit it with the heat gun or dry it. But I just want a shadow kind of under him to start. Same probably for a little bit back here. I'm going to want it a little bit darker back here behind his leg. And then feather it out. Can you post that book on Twitter? The book? Yeah, when I post a picture now, I probably won't post this picture today, but I'll show it to you, Ange. Here's the book. Adorable Animals. Jane Maday. There it is right there. Silly question, but do the zig leave? Do the zig take a similar? Yeah, it takes the same amount as water to dry, because that's what that's what it is. It's watercolor, guys. It's just watercolor in a pen, in a brush pen. But again, remember, you're working in a color book, and so the paper is thin, unless you have a specialty watercolor book, of course, where the paper is like watercolor paper. So this needs to be a little darker over here too. That's part of the under, kind of the flip side of the lily pad there, and that's probably water right there. Something like that is a start. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks, Terry. Terry just put in the link for the color book. Thank you, Terry. All right, so now I'm going to go back over here on this one. And again, I might like this going to be a little shadow, especially right under there. So let's go ahead and just get that nice and dark to start. Now I'll come over here and pick up some more. Probably right along that edge. Have a little bit darker right along here. I just keep putting more in my little tray over here, and then picking it up. So does anybody have any weekend plans? I'm going to get Cam tomorrow. He's going to spend a week here. We're going to work on his portfolio, his art portfolio for his senior year. They have to do half of it over the summer, which summer here is 2 months. They go back to school the first week of August. So we're going to hang out in art next week. I mean, I'll still stream, and maybe I can get him to stream. It's not that he never minds streaming, but I stream so early, even for him. You know, he's a night owl. Okay, back up here. But we'll see what we can do. You're getting your boys for the summer, Prisma? Yeah. For those that y'all don't know, Cam's my grandson. And Boo is my granddaughter. And Boo's 14 and Cam is 17. And he'll be in APR. Well, he's been in APR, but he's got to have a portfolio for his senior year. So all right, so there we go. So you see how the shades of, And this actually needs to be a little darker, I think. I probably should have dried that first, but because I don't want it to pill or go right through. Yeah. Okay, he needs a little more shadow right under his foot there. Probably a little bit more in between the toes. Be darker right in there. Blend out. Boo's going on a trip with her best friend. So she'll be gone next week. Something like this. See how you can keep building it up? It's just like if you're doing a watercolor, you can keep building it up. But before I do any more build up, let me go ahead and dry this so I don't tear my paper. Are you supposed to use a water brush? Well, I don't know why not. It's water. Are you supposed to? You mean put some off here and use it? You can do however you want, because if you want it thinned out, if you want it lighter, you got to add water to it to make it lighter. So, but to make them last longer, that's not why I do it. It will make it probably last longer. You're watering it down. But yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my olivey green because he's on the olive. No, you know what? Let's wait. Before we do any more of those layers, let's get the water in. And oh, I forgot the reflection. I think, let's see how dark that, if I want that reflection to be even darker. There's a reflection in the water here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with almost a darker pink for the reflection, and then just kind of blend it out here a little. It's got a little green on it. This is the reflection in the water. Same for this one, or either that, or it's part of the water lily flower under the water, but I'm thinking it's a reflection. So like that, and also right under here. Something like that. I want a darker right in there. Okay, there's a start. Bye, Valerie. See you Monday. Aw, thanks, Triz. All right, I'm going to dry this now. Let's see how far we can get with the watercolor before we go into any pencil. Because y'all know me, I want to get in there with pencil. Okay, so now I think I want the little dragonfly to maybe be purple. Let's get a lavender, and I'm using my zigs right here. And I think I'm going to go with a lavender body. Let's just go ahead and do that nice and dark. And maybe the tips of his wings. And then I'll put the rest here on the palette and pick that up so we can have some nice light purple wings. Pencil-licious. I just, I'm a pencil gal. What can I say? But I love using everything. I love using everything. But when it comes right down to getting those shades and blends, I want my pencils. You can do it all with anything. You can do everything we do in a color book with watercolors, markers, neocolors, acrylic paint, pencils, intense. But it's, you know, I just like using a little bit of all of it. And he's got some antenna, and I'll wait till the end after I paint the water to do those. So I have to try to paint around the antennas. I know you love your pencils, buddies. Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, we just like to use different things. All right, so now what color blue water do I want? Do I want a turquoisey water, or do I want a blue water? I think I want a blue water. Let's see. I don't know. Let's try a couple different blues. That blue, there's dark blue, but you got to test it how it's going to look watered down. See, that is that blue. It's like a true blue. This one's like a little bit of a cerulean. It's a little bit more on the green side. I might want to go with that rather than turquoise blue. So I think we'll go with the kind of cerulean type color blue. It's a little bit, has just a little bit more green to it. You know you love your pencils. Alright, so let me find me a spot right here, because I want this pale until I get into the shadows, right? Alright, let's see here. There we go. Alright, so a little blue in here. And for big areas like this, it would be awesome to do wet on wet, like wet the whole thing and let it bleed out, but this paper's not conducive for that. You would just probably have pilled paper, so we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do, you know, just blend it out myself here. And just try to stay in some of the darker areas first, and then kind of feather it out so it's a smooth transition. Which water can have a little bit, it's a little bit more forgiving, right? Because it's moving. But I don't want any lines. Try not to have any lines. Like you would have a marker line. I don't want any of the lines. Might be a little shadow here on the water where the if I can let that dry right there, it'll look like he's floating above. Do you know what I mean, Vern? Make him have a shadow. So if we get this on here kind of dark, let that dry, then you could put another layer over it and look like that's a shadow on the water, like he's, you know, floating above the water. So let's do that. Now let's dry that. And now we'll kind of glaze over the rest of it, but that'll stay nice and dark. Oh, wrong blue. Ah, no, 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 I touched into the wrong blue. Hang on, let me see if I can get that out. Oh, it's okay. You can have a couple shades of blue in there, but I accidentally got the wrong blue. Alright, so now let's get back here with the correct blue. And watercolors, it does kind of hard. When you're doing something, especially a big area like this where I'm trying to get it nice and blendy, it's hard to keep up with chat. Ask Jean. So see, it looks like he's floating. You could even put another layer too. We might. But there's a first layer. Let's get back up in can darken some more of the shadows with the watercolor. And again, I'm going to cut this off, so I don't care if I go like off the border there, because that's going to be cut off anyway. Let me do a test in my chat. Is it moving? I don't know. There it goes. I thought I just lost it a little bit. And this blue right here is Prussian blue. Hey, Ange, welcome back. Or you might not have left and I just didn't notice. Trying to keep up with chat here and watercoloring. But like to try to show as many techniques and things as we can with our color books, because we never want to get tired of our color books. We want to keep trying different things. And now I'm going to drop a little water, just a drop of water in that, and water it down even more, so that up here it's very light. At least initially. And kind of streaky, you know, like water would be. We can add some more in there as it dries. Another layers. Layer, layer, layer. Okay, sip of coffee and then I'm going to dry. Hold it right in there. So now I want to get back in here with a little more shadow, like right under here, under where the dragonfly is floating over the water. And some deeper shadows under the lily pad and under the flowers. And that's a reflection. I'm going to go with that's a reflection, so that means the water is going to be right over the top of that. But got to be careful not to get mud here. Something like that, so you still kind of see the pink in the water, but there's water there. Same for here. And then back in here, this is water. Something like that, I think. Do you see any stickles or winkers? Not for this page. No, Prisma, I'm not putting any stickles or Winka Stella. The only thing that would call for it would be the dragonfly. I'll tell you, I want me to stickle up or glitter up everything. That's funny. This would need a little darker right back in here, there, and just a little bit more there. Just a little there. The closest you, some gold and silver watercolors. You don't know that, Linda. Have you tried? Oh my gosh, you girls. You gotta try. I tell you, girl, I try this stuff on a live show, and if it messes up, it messes up. So if I can do it on a live show, and you girls can do it at home, and no one watching, and at least try. So I just want the tiniest little bit of blue reflection right on the edge there. Maybe some water drops on the flowers. Yeah, I'd have to do that with pencil, Deb. Yeah, I'd have to do that with pencil for sure. All right. Like, if y'all missed it, here's the little sample. This is the eye we did on the other part. We did water like that. A water droplet. I'd have to do that with pencil. Because I didn't plan for it here. And I'd need a white spot. Of course, I could paint something out, you know, whatever, but make that a little darker shadow. And a little more blend right here. Okay, got to dry. But it looks watercolory, and that's what we want, right? I mean, that's what, I thought that was the idea we were going for on this one. We always start with an idea. We end up changing it a lot, but all right, I want a little bit more back here. We can do this. We could do some streaks like this, you know? I do want this a little darker back in here. Oops. Oops. I clean that off. I got a little too much on the... Well, I could have a little bit of a blue shadow in there. It's not going to hurt anything. Put a little bit of shadow in there. Ahead of time. I mean, I was going to go in there with shadows, but not yet. Okay, let's see here. Thanks, guys. You just started working on your local scrapbook store. We have those zigs, and I'm waiting. Ah! You're on it, aren't you? Yeah. You work in a scrapbook store, any kind of craft store, you spend all your money at your job. I think they know that. I think when they hire people to work in art, craft, you know, industry, they know people are going to spend all their money right there. Alright, let's put a little bit of water reflection right in here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right over the tops of this right here so that you can tell that's a reflection. Do you know what I mean? So that you can tell that's sitting in the water. Like that. Need a little bit of white. Well, we can go with white. We can go with the white gel pen after a while. Let's just get it based in there. Because I want some white highlights. Or gouache. We could go with gouache. But you know me, I'll go with a paint pen or a gel pen in a heartbeat. Alright. Just kind of playing and tweaking here. I need to dry is what I need to do. Okay, I'm going to stop with the water for a little bit. Let's dry it. Hi, Triz. All right, back to some. Let me clean off my hand. Baby wipes here. Get a little bit of it off. As long as I'm not smearing it, I can take my a craft scrubby to myself later. All right, I want his eye to be like a yellow with a green shading. So I'm going to go ahead and just go straight in here with yellow, just to get the initial color on there, because I'm going to shade or blend with darker color. And this is just yellow. All right, now I want a little bit of a sienna color. Let's see if this is close enough. Do a little test here. That's not dark enough. I need probably this one. Yeah. Okay. So this is brown. It looks sienna to me. Look, it doesn't look like brown. It looks like a sienna brown, but they're calling it brown. All right. So now let me get a little spot here. I might be able to get a little bit with, because I'm going to get the pupil and the black part of his eye. I'm going to go in there with a pen. I like to do that anyway, just because it's nice and sharp. But I want a few little brown, or like a couple little bit of brown areas, like this spot right here on him. That's too dark. Let's water that down a little. That spot there, and then his little nose hole, and then maybe just a touch right under his chin, a little shadow, like kind of right under his chin there. I might do a little bit more, like where he's going to have some green. See those little areas right there? Those little, they're going to be dark green, but I think I want to have a little bit of a base of the sienna there too. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of brown underbelly. His underbelly is going to be brown. And then we'll go in there with the dark green on top of that. Makes you want to get something. I lost my chat here. Where's my peeps? There they are. Okay. Makes you want to get a frog. So anyway, with watercolors, you just got to build it up. And it takes time. It's kind of like pencil. You got to build up your layers. So it looks real light at first, but you got to get those light layers on there to get the dark ones, right, Jean? Who's been working with watercolor like there's no tomorrow. It's going to need darker right in there too, under him. But anyway, so you just got to keep building it up, building it up. Okay, a little bit maybe right in here. All right, let's get another little dry section here, so we can get right on here around his eye. And it's going to have more green. I just want a little bit of darker, like an olivey color going on. gotta dry. Then do the darkest, then the mid-tone. Yeah, that's how I like to work with pencil, Jean. I would like to go in here with the darkest dark. Now I am going to do his eye. The problem with that on this paper, if I go in here with the darkest, where I mean right here I know that's it. That's the final right there. But if I try, I know I have more blending to do, and I go in with the very darkest. You can't blend on this paper's not watercolor paper. Y'all never forget that. This is not watercolor paper. You are limited in what you can do with watercolor or any kind of water blending. You can always put a wash on anything. Okay, I'll put a wash of water stuff on Bennett Klein's paper, copy paper thin. But the blending, you're limited to just copy paper essentially, unless you have specialty paper you've either printed it out on or the book came as a specialty watercolor paper book, which there's a few of those. But you know, there's only so much you can do on these color book pages. That's why I love my pencils. You can shade and blend. You wouldn't attempt this with watercolors? Yeah, it is a little tricky, gotta say. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and here's a little bit of the blue here. Let's make sure I got the right blue because I did have two blues there. I want to get a little bit of the blue. I'm going to drip a drop of water in there. I think that might be too much. And I really want it watered down because I want a little bit more shadow on the flowers. Let's see what that's going to do. That might not even be enough. There we go. Yeah. So it's very watered down, but I want a little bit of shadow. But I don't want to lose my pink. But it's going to probably reflect a little bit of blue from the water. No, I don't want to overdo. I just want the hint of a shadow. Too much. That's enough because I still want to add more pink. All right, let me come down here. And I'm kind of following the grayscale, you know, shadows. Okay, again, time to dry. I know I have to keep saying that, guys, but seriously, you'll go right through your paper. But to tell you the truth, we're farther along than I thought we would be. We are farther along than I thought we would be with just watercolor on grayscale. All right, so now let me go ahead and get a pen. I want my, just get my Sharpie pen, not a Sharpie marker, Sharpie pen. Where is it? Yeah, if I can find it, here we go. Well, I know I got one. Here we go. Sharpie pen, not a marker. So I want to do his eyeball. And I want it very black. Let's make sure it's working. And then right along the inside edge. And then probably right in here, I'm going to put a little bit there and inside his nostril hole. Now I'll take one of the greens. Which one do I want? Probably really want pencil is what I want. But let's see. and I'll probably put a little bit of, you know, not lines, but kind of lines. Okay, I got, what is this? Go to, oh, it goes to this one. You know, a little bit more detail in the pupil with pencil. So I'm just going to kind of get some color in there like that for now. And then I will put, like with a gel pen or a white Posca, even though it's white, the highlight, it's really not. And I like to sometimes add another little highlight anyway. So, yeah. Get a start on this eyeball there. I wish your hands didn't shake so bad I could do this stuff like this. Yeah, that would be tricky, you know, to try to do it with shaky hands for sure. All right, let's see. Now, let's go back to the froggy and the darker green. That's not the dark. Here it is, this darker green. Yeah, this green. And let's find a little spot here. Can we name the frog Bubba? You can name him Bubba if you want. Oh my gosh. Bubba. I'm going to need dark right along that edge. I have them, whoops. See, I went too far right there. Got to blend that out quick, quick, quick. Blend, blend, blend. Went into his little tummy area. So you can do things like move watercolor. You can't do that with like Copics and stuff. All right, so I want there, there, there. And again, if I start feeling like I'm oversaturating the paper, I'll dry it, then put another layer. Okay, I need my mid-green. I need my mid-green right in here. And right in here is the top of that foot. It's kind of underneath here. And same for this one. And I can start doing a little bit more shadow, but I gotta be careful because it's tricky to blend out. Gotta do it careful. Judiciously put those shadows. Ask Jean. Jean's been working on glass. Jean, did you finish that piece? I know you stopped to do a scrapbook thing. Did you finish that? Because I was watching part 2 and fell asleep, so I haven't finished part 2 yet, Jean. So you can see you can do a lot with these little brush markers. This needs more shadow right in there. Yeah, if you wanted to do a watercolor, guys, like this, you know, serious, if you really wanted to do a good watercolor, print it off on watercolor paper. You know, because you are kind of fighting the paper, you know, when you're working on with watercolors. on your, I don't want to call it cheap paper, but you know what I mean. Not made for watercolor paper. It's just you'll do so much better if you're not fighting a paper. A little more shadow under there. But you see how we're building it up? Oh, you finished it, Jean? Did you finish it on the show, though? Let me find the picture. Let's look at Jean's picture. Rabbit trail. Oops, my chat froze there. I'm not sure. I wanted to see if Jean finished it on her recording. She said she finished it here. Oh, it looks awesome, Jean. So Jean got her inspiration off of, and she did give credit to the artist that she got the piece from. I think she found him on DeviantArt, and she she said who it is on her show and everything because she just wanted to practice. And so they're glass fruit. So like that's a pear made out of glass. The cherries are made out of glass. So yeah. You did finish on part 2. Okay. Like I said, Jean, I fell asleep watching you. We do that, Jean and I. We watch each other's shows and fall asleep. And then have to go back and watch it again. Awesome, Jean. All right, let's do a little bit work on the lily pad here in the back. A little bit more shadow right on that one. And let's just blend it out. So let's see how long we've been here now. We're in 10 minutes. Not too bad. We're doing pretty good for an hour and 10 minutes. Might do a little bit more extended shadows here and here and blend it in. Have it a little more dramatic. Same for that one. Yesterday you worked on another mixed media. You worked on another mixed media? Did you film it? Why did I miss that, Jean? I don't know. Oh, I ran errands yesterday. That's why, Jean. That's why I missed it. I wasn't here. I think. So again, I'm just building it up layer by layer, but you got to dry in between because the paper will work. I know I repeat myself, guys, but I want your piece to turn out. I don't want you to email me and say, oh my gosh, my brush went right through the paper. Yeah, I don't want that to happen to you. And I think I want a little bit of lily pad lines. Why not? Why not have some lily pad lines? And just a little feathering of them. Just kind of watering them down and blending them in. Going to finish it tonight, adding the paint. Oh, okay. You're going to stream again tonight. God, Jean, you're on a roll. Those couple of weeks are a month off. You feel like you got to catch up now? And also, guys, if you're watching this, I think Paula, now I don't want to speak out of turn and she doesn't end up streaming, but I think she's going to stream Saturday night. Am I right, guys? That Paula's going to stream, Journal Artista is going to stream Saturday? Or did I missee that? He needs a little bit of a highlight there on his back. I don't think I can lift. I can try to lift on this paper, but I don't know. It'd almost just be as easy to go in there with some gouache or something, but let's see if I can lift. Nah, it's not going to lift much. Not on this paper. I just want to distinguish his body a little. Paula has 2 Saturdays off in a row and told her we told her she's streaming. Okay. So she hasn't said. Is that what you're trying to say? Oh my gosh. Oh, they're so bad. Okay, so let's get a little bit more olivey darks on our frog here. So you can just keep layering and layering, but gotta let it dry in between. That is the key, people. That is the key. You have to have it dry in between. And I think that's kind of his back leg under there, so let's get a little shadow under there. His foot's coming behind his body there, over to here. No, I'm pretty sure she is streaming. Oh, she's the one that told y'all she has Saturdays off. Okay. Yeah, so y'all be looking for Journal Artista's tweets. We miss our Paula streams. Paula, well, my first streamer I ever watched on Ustream was Artistic Biker Blade. Paula was the second person I watched. Alright, so now I'll get a little bit more of that olive color because his little lip is darker here. Right on top. And then right under his eyes, let me get out a little bit more dark green here. And then kind of leave a light area around his nostril so it looks kind of like it's sunk in. Like that. And this will be darker. Here's his eye, his other eye's back here. I mean, it's just the back side of his eye. You don't see the eye. The eyeball, you know. As soon as that dries, I'll put another layer. And then So we're getting there, right? Just takes layers. Lots of layers. We're going to work for probably about 10 more minutes. Are you still going off the shadows in the book? Kind of both. I'm really not really, I'm kind of going, you know, but I'm doing such different colors. So I'm not really. Do you want me to? Do I want to get more by the book? I can. But he's more green in the book. I'm making him olive, more of an olive color rather than a green. Like he's not a grass green color, he's a olive color frog. So, but always, you know, you can always get Google Images and find references. Let's just say there was no, like, let's just say you had no references at all. No color references. You didn't know what color a frog was or what color to color a frog. I mean, everybody knows there's green, and you know, I don't mean that. But let's just say, you know, you had nothing to go off of. Then look on Google Images and find frogs and look at the colors they are. I mean, do them in reds and oranges. Doesn't have to be green at all. I mean, I don't make up colors, you know, unless we're doing a fantasy something, you know, fantasy animal, then we do whatever color we want. But if I'm going to do a realistic something and I don't know what color it is, I look it up. Every artist does. Nobody has every animal in their head. We've talked about that before. Okay. Do I want any extra spots on him though? I might. He needs more oomph. I'm going to put some spots on him. Let's make him, because I do know that frogs can have spots. So we might as well put some on there. Frogs come in all colors. Yeah, they do. But I'm just saying, if you wanted to actually do a, you know, correct colors on a certain kind of frog, you can always just look it up. I think I want some more spots on his head though. Just a few little specks. Like that. Give him a little bit more texture, a little bit more interest. Of course, there's his nose hole. Now, let me put out some more. I think I want to do some on his legs too. Just a little bit more spottiness. So we'll go here for a few more minutes. And again, if you want those spots darker, you got to let that dry and go over with another layer. Okay. I think I want him to have a little bit more highlight in his eye. I don't want him to have a teardrop, but I do want him to have his eye a little more shimmery. And maybe a little bit around the nose there. Because y'all know my animals have to have nice bright eyes. Now he needs just a little bit more yellow though. I got a little too much white there. There we go. Alright. Alright, back to our dark green. A little bit more shadow around this. Okay, more shadow there, more shadow there. Let's blend that out while we can. This poor paper's getting some abuse, I tell ya. Maybe a little lumpy. Let's do a little bit of lumps on his back. Let's make him a little not so. Let's make him a little more toady. Have him be a little more toady. Just a little. Okay, a little bit darker right here. He needs more spots back over here. A touch away a staff. Prisma, stop. I'm trying my best to just, other than a little bit in the eye, I'm trying to do everything I possibly can with watercolor. Only. Yeah, if there was any Wink of Stella, it would be just on the dragonfly. Alright. He's looking pretty good. What do y'all think? Could almost use just a little bit more of that pale green blend out down here. Just a little. Just so it's not pure white down here. Maybe a little bit kind of coming into his belly there. Just give him a little bit of belly roll. Okay, I'm liking him. Look, too much. Just want a little bit more there. That was good. Aww. Bye, Linda. Thanks. All right, let's go ahead and stop on him. Let's see, we probably want a little bit more detail on the dragonfly, just a little bit of extra division between its little body layers there, and a little bit of wing action. Not too much, just a little. Blend that out. I'll add a couple little white highlights here in a second. This needs just a little smoothing out there. Alright, so now I need a little bit more shading on a little bit more pink. Let's see if this is going to be, that should work now. Now that there's layers on there, I can probably get back in there with just going to get a little bit darker in here. I'm going to kind of blend it a little bit. So I stayed pretty much with the watercolor. Hang on, I'm going to cut them out here in a minute. Although I could definitely get in here with pencil. Y'all know me. I could definitely get in there with pencil. I am going to get in here with a little bit of white, though, I think. I'm going to dry it and get just a few little white highlights with my Posca. All right. Because I want to do something on him. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the heat gun, and then I want to do a little Posca-esque. Bye, Terry! All right, let's see. I'll do a couple of them. I'm going to cut them out first. It's going to go on black paper. I could have put a little bit more lines in this. I might still do that. A little bit more like I did this bottom one. A few more lines. See how I got the lily pad? But, well, all right, we won't do that right now. Well, maybe, I don't know. It's hard for me to stop. Just a little bit. Okay, hang on, guys. I'm not looking at chat for a second. So just so you can see how many layers you can get with watercolor, but got to dry in between. All right. I need a little bit more blend right there. Like that. You're welcome, and hi and bye, Melody. You're doing okay. All right, guys, I'm going to have to stop. So that means I'm going to have to add a little bit of, let's get the right lids on the right thing here. I'm not completely outlining them. I'm just trying to kind of give it a highlight. You can kind of feather it out if you need to. But okay, now here's where I wanted to do some definite highlights here on him. I'm not sure what dragonfly wing separation veins look like. I'm probably not doing that very well, but I just want a couple lines. You know, they kind of have a weird angle on them. And then a little highlight on his body, and then his antenna. Something like that. Okay, so my final highlights. And the last thing, couple highlights right over the reflections. So you go right over the top. I don't want to do too many, I just want a few. I don't know. Somebody's linking me on some tweets. Thanks, Jean. Maybe I want him to be a little highlighted. I don't know. So he doesn't quite get lost. Put a little highlights on his little toes here. If it gets too white, I can always go back in there and knock it back with the marker. Like, you know, when it's dry, then I can go back over it, and then it kind of disappears. The white will kind of disappear, but it'll still be bright. Make sure it's dry though. Okay, so I think we're going to call it done. Although I still can see where I can get more shadows and more, you know, depth to them if I really worked at it, you know. But I think for an hour and a half we did pretty good. Showing a demo with the water brush markers, and yeah. Hey, Subin. All right, but I gotta stop because y'all gotta make me stop. I'll just keep going and going. Okay, I got a little bit of green right there. I gotta kind of get that up. There we go. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. I will. I'm going to have Cam here working on art. And thanks, guys. So a little more tweaking. See where the white outline is? I want to go over those white outlines with the marker. So it's not like a harsh white outline, but we still retain that lightness. So when I go back over them, they'll just knock back a little, but they'll still be there, you know. But I gotta let that sit for a minute. So there we go, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Step away from I'm trying, Jean. I'm trying. So yeah. So again, guys, this is from from the Adorable Animals grayscale. And look how light they start out at. See how light they are? This is what we went to. With just watercolor and a little bit of Posca. So I think we did pretty good for the little fella. Bubba. We did good for Bubba. And thanks, Anne, for the enabling. All right, guys. Thanks, everyone. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you later.